If you'd like to show your support for B Radio and help us make more episodes, you can become a paying member of the Babylon Bee at babylonbee.com/plans. And for a limited time, you can use code BRadio for 20% off your annual premium subscription. You'll get full-length, ad-free podcasts, exclusive content, behind-the-scenes videos, and more. Subscribe today at babylonbee.com/plans. Use promo code BRadio.
Factually inaccurate.
Morally correct. This is Babylon Bee Radio. Our top story. Tragedy unfolded at the coronation after King Charles lost control of his ice powers and froze most of London.
I'm a monster,
Cried King Charles as he slipped on white gloves.
Stay away from me, Camilla. I don't want to hurt you.
After years of hiding himself away from anything that could trigger his ice powers, the king finally opened the gates for his public coronation.
It felt like the first time in forever,
Said Queen Camilla.
Then Charles, he lost control, froze Buckingham Palace, and fled away on a bridge of ice. I begged him to take his coat before he ran, but he just said, the cold never bothered me anyway.
Authorities report King Charles fled towards Scaffold Pike, magically surrounding himself with frozen fractals as he traveled.
I just couldn't keep it in. Heaven knows I tried.
Cried King Charles as he raised an ice castle from thin air.
I tried to conceal, to not feel, but now they know. Let it go.
At our time, Queen Camilla was seen standing outside the ice castle, softly asking,
King Charles, do you want to build a snowman?
History books and documentary films around the world will be undergoing significant revisions after an announcement was made that Adolf Hitler, long regarded as arguably the evilest human being in history, has now been exonerated of all his crimes after historians discovered some absolutely delightful footage of him moonwalking on the subway.
This really changes everything about the way that we view him. Yes, he unleashed a torrent of vitriolic hatred on the entire globe, giving birth to the Second World War and its related atrocities, resulting in tens of millions of deaths. But once you see him doing a killer Michael Jackson impersonation on the subway, the rest of it just pales in comparison.
Historian Blake Rumsey found the footage while editing a new documentary on Hitler's life and concluded that the feared Nazi Führer should now be cast in an entirely different light. Democrat lawmakers quickly agreed.
Not since the King of Pop himself have we seen moves like this.
Said New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
The moonwalk, the spin, the anti-gravity lean, the crotch grab. How can anyone hold his previous horrible crimes against him after seeing this?
Critics were eager to point out that Hitler was still responsible for the attempted eradication of the Jewish people during the Holocaust. But support for the former German leader continued to build.
He impersonated a beloved music performer, which means his despicable past is irrelevant. And the Allied forces murdered him unjustly. Jerks.
In an effort to establish government oversight of the growing role of artificial intelligence in our society, President Biden has appointed Vice President Kamala Harris as AI czar. Biden expressed hope that Harris's track record of slowing the spread of intelligence will be of use.
She's been fighting against the threat of intelligence for her whole life. And when it comes to creating an environment where intelligence is restricted and unable to advance too far, Vice President Harris is more qualified for the job than anybody else. Race cards ain't go for it.
Fears among the general public and leaders of the tech industry alike regarding the increasing growth and prevalence of artificial intelligence have led to calls for more oversight, which Vice President Harris was more than willing to provide as soon as she was informed what oversight means.
It is my distinct honor to provide real leadership over the growth of artificial intelligence. Intelligence that is artificial is real. And intelligence that is real may, in reality, be artificial. It is within that reality that artificiality can become real,
said Harris in something that seemed like a statement. Sources within the White House indicated Biden was supremely confident that Harris's leadership in the area of intelligence would be just as successful as her tenure as border czar. VP Harris was said to already be assembling a special task force to deal with the potential threat of intelligence, asking AOC to serve as her main advisor. After word got out that an FBI whistleblower was accusing Joe Biden of taking bribes during his time as vice president, Biden quickly told his advisors that he needed to spin the wheel of distraction to get everyone talking about something else.
We gotta whip up another story, folks,
Biden said as he shuffled into his secret room where the administration keeps the wheel of distraction.
If people start talking about the bribes I took during the Obama administration, they'll end up finding out about everything else I've ever done over the last 50 years. darkest my binder.
Aides quickly led the president to the wheel as advisors and members of the cabinet stood by to put a new distracting story into action.
How about another pandemic? Let's hope the wheel lands on that.
The next one won't be ready until next year for the election, sir.
Shoot. What about blowing up a food processing plant?
We don't have any left, Mr. President.
What'll it be? And another random part of a gun? Tell everybody our democracy's under attack? Fall off my back? Again?
The president then gave the wheel of distraction a mighty spin, with the administration members clapping and cheering. The room fell silent as the clicking of the spoke wheel slowed, finally landing on Assassinate Putin.
Darn it, we tried that last week and it didn't work. But the wheel's spoken.
According to anonymous sources, the trans activist manifesto of the Nashville mass shooter has been put in a top-secret crate in a top-secret warehouse for safekeeping, right next to the motive for the Vegas shooting, the Epstein client list, and the Ark of the Covenant.
Dangerous material like this cannot be allowed to fall into the hands of the American public, as it threatens to shed light on what drove this trans activist,
said an internal FBI voice memo, which was leaked to the press.
It is paramount to our national security efforts that we keep secret any and all information that could call our approved narrative into question.
The Nashville Police Department had cooperated with transferring the manifesto to the FBI's top men, quote, for safekeeping, citing their work as a, quote, necessary bulwark against harrowing possible outcomes, including but not limited to citizens leaving the Democrat Party. The FBI later announced plans to transport the manifesto to a different secure location to make space in the warehouse for crates of ballots for Biden's re-election. Military journalists say that against all odds, the U.S. Navy has somehow managed to become even gayer. Brand new Navy recruitment ambassador and drag queen Joshua Kelly, they/them, broke the news on a Chinese spy app called TikTok that he would be assisting the military in its efforts to recruit more drag queens to strike fear in the hearts of America's enemies. The campaign was created to help crew the brand new ship USS Harvey Milk and the nuclear submarine USS Sam Smith. As part of its push for diversity and inclusiveness in recruitment, the Navy has announced that it will provide unlimited Bud Light for all new recruits. The Navy hopes this offer will entice recruits of an even broader range of alternative lifestyles to join the service.
This offer will entice exactly the type of recruits we're looking for,
said Rear Admiral Alexis Lex Walker, who runs Navy Recruiting Command.
With drag queens serving as the face of the Navy recruitment and Bud Light serving as our official recruitment beverage, we'll be narrowing our efforts to a very specific segment of the population, if you know what I mean.
Though the Navy has come under fire as of late, leadership is confident this is the right direction.
Our goal has nothing to do with creating or maintaining the finest seafaring fighting force in the world. Our goal is all about making the United States Navy an absolutely fabulous and glittery place to enlist. Rainbows, unicorns, feather boas, false eyelashes, and pink wigs all around.
At last check, the Navy's new recruiting initiatives were sputtering out of the gate, with the drag queen video being met with derision and entire truckloads of Bud Light still sitting untouched at Navy recruitment centers across the U.S. Walker, meanwhile, was asking reporters why everyone suddenly finds it so funny that his rank is Rear Admiral. A group of local bros were able to provide their own entertainment during a night out drinking Cosmos as they took turns laughing at their friend who had gaily ordered a Bud Light.
Hey, get a load of this Fruit Loop who drinks Bud Light,
yelled Zane, who was enjoying a delicious Cosmo like a real man.
Just look at him sipping on that Bud Light like a little fairy sissy boy.
Wow, that's pretty gay, dude,
said Sebastian, who was already on his second Cosmo.
I never had you pegged for one of them fruitcakes, but here you are.
Their friend Brendan just shook his head and smiled politely as the jabs continued.
Hey, Brendan, when did you become a woke communist, dummy? Did Elizabeth Warren buy you that beer? Yay!
At airtime, the group was heard continuing the badgering of Brendan for his Bud Light as they finished their Cosmos and left the bar to head back to Zane's apartment to watch oiled-up men in tights wrestle each other on WWE Raw. At a recent PDGA Tour event, professional disc golfer Andy Consuelos found himself disqualified after officials subjected him to a random drug test and discovered his urine was negative for cannabis. The disc golfer was banned from all PDGA events until he's able to test positive for copious amounts of the devil's lettuce. Officials grew suspicious after the disc golfer showed up to the event without a single disc stamped with a marijuana leaf emblem or a boombox bumping a little Bob Marley, and seemed to be, quote, completely clear-headed and energetic. He was quickly drug tested and found to have a clean urine test without a single trace of regulation PDGA strains like Purple Kush, Sour Diesel, or the really dank stuff, the One-Eyed Jamaican. The rest of the players had been seen giggling near the 17th basket in a cloud of blue smoke while completely destroying a bag of Takis. The Attenborough family reportedly expressed regret for having brought Grandpa with them for a leisure weekend. The grandkids in particular wished he would just shut up and let them enjoy the beach.
As the sun peeks through the clouds to light up a sandy shore, we observe a group of humans claiming a spot of land near the cold surf. This tight-knit herd of adults and offspring has brought with them various items, to enhance their experience, such as a cooler to store their food, and
Grandpa's monologue was cut short by a frisbee hitting him in the chin.
the adults relaxing under makeshift shade apparatuses are completely unaware that some of their more reckless young have shown aggression toward the family patriarch with a plastic flying toy in an attempt to undermine his dominance over the herd, a common practice among this fascinating species.
Droned the 96-year-old while someone tried to distract him with a Coke and some crisps. When lunchtime arrived, the family did their best to enjoy the lunch of sandwiches and melon, despite Grandpa comparing their feast in the sun to a pod of orcas toying with a helpless baby humpback whale before devouring it.
A batch of small humans have wandered into the murky depths, perhaps oblivious to the complex, often dangerous life forms lurking just out of sight, whilst an intrepid group of adults surrounds the family's beloved patriarch and leads him gently to the parking lot.
As the afternoon sun warmed the sandy shore, the family played in the water, built sandcastles, and lounged under umbrellas, while Grandpa Attenborough was observed sitting silently in the minivan, tied up with a sock stuck in his mouth. B Radio features officially curated content from the Babylon Bee, scripted, voiced, and produced by Austin Robertson. Additional voices in this episode from Bettina, Dan, Kirsty, Kristen, and Travis. Subscribe to B Radio on YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts, and be among the first to hear brand new episodes.